Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief. As you can probably hear in my voice and see, I'm a little under the weather right now. And the last few days or so, I was kind of like, what do I want to create the next video on when I feel better? And then waiting for me to feel better, waiting to feel better, not feeling better, having a lot of emotions come up about this because today I think is like day 10, which is probably like the longest I've ever had like a respiratory cold, even like way worse than when I had COVID. So realizing as the sickness was lingering, I was having a lot of different emotions come up related to it, and then got a reminder, this is grief, right? Anytime our body, like anything changes with our body, and especially with our health, we have a lot of feelings about it. And especially if it lingers on and lingers on, despite your best efforts, right? I found myself feeling really discouraged yesterday about having a couple days the day before where I felt like I was on the mend, where I felt like I was getting better. Especially 2 days ago, I felt pretty good, like almost like maybe like 60% normal. And then bam, yesterday I felt worse again. And I was just, so it just totally, I was like, what? So I found myself having lots of feelings about like body and what else do you need from me? Like, what can I do? And just feeling like the sadness related to that, the frustration, the like fear, right? Because when we have something happening with our bodies, if it lingers for a while, just kind of that fear of when you're going to get better. For me, there's fear linked to work, because I've missed the last 2 weeks of work. And in the new job I have this year, I don't actually get paid when I miss work. So that has added some, of course, other fears to it, which reminds me of the kind of it's the echo losses. I like to call them echo losses. So when something happens with your health, it's not, and that the change and the loss happens there, you're not only grieving that, but it tends to affect tons of different areas of your life, right? It can affect your work or your ability to be at work, which can affect your finances. So that can add another loss and a bunch of feelings related to that. It affects how you're able to interact and communicate and connect with other people. I've had to cancel like a couple like dates with friends over the last few weeks. I've had to cancel a couple projects that I had going on. So the feelings related to that. So those are all like losses too, and we can have an emotions of grief related to that. So changes to our health are not just solely changes to our health. They impact everything. And there are definitely different varied emotions of grief that can go on with all that. So yeah, and instead of just kind of sitting and waiting for myself to get better to create a video, I decided to just create a very real one of me right in the middle of it, right in the middle of feeling sick still, afraid, discouraged, kind of feeling at a loss of what else to do for my body, feeling like I was doing all the great things for it the last several days, and just the disappointment of it not responding the way I thought that it might when I gave it all this love. So I got the reminder again when I was sharing some of this with a friend last night, of past circumstances when I've been in this situation where I'm at a loss for what to do next. And if I get super quiet, and especially if it's related to my body, like if something's going on with my body, like a pain or a whatever, and I'm just like, body, what else do you need? And I have this conversation kind of in sadness and desperation, right? And every time I get the same kind of answer: don't do anything. Just be, right? Just let go, just be. And maybe pay attention to some of the emotions that might be in my body that are not related to being sick. And that's related to some of the fear that I think that I'm holding. So some of my epiphany, some awareness that came up yesterday related to this is, we can have emotions that build up because we're sick, but again, there's tons of research out there, and I know some of the things that might be creating it for me or might be playing a role in it. But there's also emotions that we can be holding in our body that can create sickness, or that can prolong sickness once we have it. And there's definitely something that I have in my head that I want to be a difficult conversation that I want to have, later on when I'm feeling well. And I'm starting to believe that maybe my body is trying to protect me by keeping me sick so that I'm not having that conversation. Anyway, there's lots of different angles and things to look at it, but I'm getting some of these awarenesses, but at the same time, and so this is part of me letting go, not waiting for myself to be better to create a video on this, just creating one in the real and rawness of the grief of all of this, and just letting go and making some intentions for when I'm well that kind of take the pressure off my body, for like any kind of timeline for something later on, or a timeline for whatever. So yeah, I think I'm done now. I feel maybe a coughing attack coming on. So okay, guys, when I talk to you next time, I will be well. And I hope you guys are well, and I hope you guys are not sick, and I will talk to you soon. Okay.